DIY.
This is one of them things where I've brought it up a million times when it comes to this idea of us building a fan base. Pharrell said something that I feel like a lot of people overlooked, and I want to show you the portion that led up to it.
If you're working with an artist and you have a difference of opinion with the artist over something you're working on, what would normally happen?
Oftentimes, I take off my ego hat when I'm in the studio. People respect, for the most part, like sometimes most
He in there drinking that water, boy. I'll tell you one thing. There's something in that water. It's good as hell.
people assume like people.
Whenever you drink water with two hands, that shit good as hell.
Most people assume like people respect others that they idolize. I found that people really respect the person that they kind of feel like is the alpha in this newfound rapport. But most producers, they kind of like, no, I'm the alpha. Like, you know how many records I've sold.
Yeah.
When truth be told, we've not sold anything. We've only made music and people chose to stream it and share it and buy it and whatever.
He says it so casually, but my God, was that a gem? There's so many videos right now on YouTube, and I'm guilty. There's so many videos about how to build a fan base, as if human beings can be herded around your musical movement, as if you're so damn important. We can just build people's interest in what we're doing. Matter of fact, there are people who go even a level above that into how do I trick people into listening to my music. I don't think people recognize how self-centered a statement like that is. We're so focused on how we can get people to believe in us, how we can get listeners to tap in with us. But ultimately, we don't have control over why they make the decisions they make, what mindset they had to be in to be receiving to the idea of tapping on your link. What sequence of events had to happen in their day for them to get on social media and give you 45 seconds of their time? We don't have control over all those elements. It's too many different people with too many varying lives to control that shit. But there are artists and there are producers who feel like they are a few instruments away from manipulating people into becoming super fans of what they do. I love this perspective because I think it relieves you of expectations. It relieves you of the pressure of feeling like you control and you own people's listening. You own their viewership. You own their time. The only thing you ultimately have control of for every human being is presenting them with an opportunity to choose your work. Part of the presentation is the way you arrange a song, the way you mix it, the way you title an instrumental, the way that you present it through artwork, your decision to put it on this platform versus this platform. These are only things that put you in a place that give you an opportunity for people to choose you, which is why it's so disheartening when you see artists that are so arrogant about something that they weren't owed. It's a privilege to have a fan, but you can relieve yourself of that pressure by recognizing that, hey, even if those people turn on their decision to listen to me, this is what it was from the beginning. The only thing I had control over was creating the art, following through on it, completing it, exporting it, packaging it, distributing it, presenting it, sharing it, promoting it. After that, even if I put ad dollars behind it, every single time, the people are ultimately the ones that have the decision. They make the decision to choose you.
We're not responsible for our success. There's
Agreed.
Millions of people who are responsible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, think about for a second, when you have a mindset like that, that says millions of people are responsible for our success. Think about what that does to relieve yourself of pressure in the studio. Think about what that does for you when you're like, you know what? As much as I can sit here and become a scientist and try to be strategic about how to get people to be a bigger fan of what I'm doing or tap into it, ultimately, that's not within my control. For every single person, it's not within my control. I love it. I feel like it puts you in a place where you can continue to make your most honest art, your most heartfelt art, and your art that is void of expectations.
But when you do that, like, oftentimes you run the risk of them just all of a sudden just being like, man, I went from like trembling in my boots, talking to my parents about being so excited to be in the room with this guy to like, I run the show. And so when we get to that place that you're talking about, when there's a subtle disagreement, this is when I still leave my ego hat like hung up at the door. But that's when I say, maybe you should try this, or you know what, if you do that, it's probably going to be what you've been doing. And my job is to nudge you, to poke and prod and pull you in places that you would not go so that you can get a different result.
That's leadership. That's leadership 101. For my personality type, that's the kind of leadership I have no problem following suit. For somebody who has as many accolades as Pharrell, for someone who could walk into any production room, take over, and not give a shit about anybody else's ideas, that is the furthest you get from that energy within an interview like this. He knows that he is so important to the room that him operating with ego and that I'm the producer and everybody listens to everything that I have to say and nobody else's input is valuable, that is the biggest mistake that he can make in that room because of all the ideas that will never have an opportunity to live on. He's challenging. He's not being passive about his challenging. He's just giving you the facts. Maybe the reason you haven't been able to achieve something different is because you've chosen the same steps over and over and over again. Why not try this? Because ultimately any studio session is a collection of trying. So I love this loose approach to collaboration that leaves the opportunity for something new to happen.
Because if you do the same things, you're just going to make another one of those really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when they have to trust you.
I think it's lost on a lot of people because of insecurity, because of ego, because of the necessity to be the big dog, especially in the producer realm. Whatever the case may be, I think it's lost upon people that the reason why they cannot create the success they ultimately want, the reason why they keep meeting the same brick wall, has nothing to do with opportunities. It has everything to do with their demeanor, their character, not recognizing that part of what created their genius was an openness to making mistakes, an openness to pivot, a drive to stick with certain things, or even an awareness to let them go. Letting go of that childlike curiosity, I think, puts a lot of people at a disadvantage and they don't even recognize it until it's too late. But I love it when you got guys like a Pharrell and a Rick Rubin who sit down very casually, and these are very normal conversations. I wish it was like that. I feel like music would sound dramatically different if it was like that. I feel like there would be less stringent rules from people, once again, who never even been in the room, or from people who have been in too many rooms that they're now jaded and they forgot that their genius, their most genius moments were created in an energy of curiosity and just not knowing what's coming up next. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.